Hey, it is AceditGaming, and today we're going to be reviewing Masha, the Fire Beast Rider. Probably kind of overdue since she's the channel's logo. So the first thing I want to tell you about Masha is that when you see that crazy base speed, she's like the second or third fastest base speed in the game, the automatic instinct is that we should just put her on Swift and make her as fast as we can. And that's actually a really bad build for Masha, in my opinion. Now, I shouldn't say really bad. There's a lot of value to that build, but it doesn't unlock her true potential. So here's the thing. Unlike some of the other Beast Riders, Masha does not have the ability to strip. So because she cannot strip, if she acts first out of all monsters on the field and the whole enemy team has will, then Masha's not going to be able to do anything. She's just going to go with a skill 1 attack and do maybe 8,000 or 9,000 damage, which isn't enough to kill anything. It won't even kill like a Lucian most of the time. Maybe you could one-shot a Lucian if you used her skill 2. But anyway, the point is that Masha is not really going to do that much for you just for being the fastest on the field. You need her to act behind a stripper to set her up to do a defense break. Now that would be the segue into talking about her kit, and then we'll go back to talking about her runes. So Masha has the fast link skill, which most of the Beast Riders do. And what this skill does, her skill 2, is that it's a multi-hit, and the first hit will defense break, and the second hit will absorb the enemy's attack bar by 25% per negative effect on the enemy. So if you just defense break and there's no other negative effects, then you absorb 25% attack bar. If it also has, let's say, a silence and a brand on it, or a silence and a continuous damage, it doesn't matter. If it has 3 negative effects, then you absorb 75% of the attack bar, which is huge. Think of Ajir's confiscate skill where he absorbs the whole enemy attack bar. If there's 4 negative effects on the enemy, then Masha's skill 2 can do the same thing as Ajir's skill 3, but it defense breaks first. So you defense break and then absorb the entire enemy attack bar and turn cycle. But wait, there's more. Masha's passive is going to increase the attack bar boost by 50%. So if you boost Masha's attack bar by, let's say you use Bastet. Bastet will boost all enemy monster, or all ally monsters by 25%. She boosts Masha by 37.5% because it's a 50% increase of the attack bar that's being boosted. But we come back to this fast link skill, Masha can also boost her own attack bar when she absorbs it. So if there's 2 negative effects on the enemy, she absorbs half of the enemy's attack bar, but she boosts her own attack bar by 75%. It's crazy turn cycling. And then on top of that, Masha's passive will increase her attack speed by 15% every time her attack bar is boosted. So Bastet boosts Masha, her speed goes up by 15%. Masha boosts herself, speed up by another 15%. The more times Masha's boosted, up to 5 times total, the more her speed increases. So Masha can get up to a 75% speed increase throughout the fight. Now the obvious pairing for Masha would be Verdehile. And I tried a lot to make Verdi and Masha work together, and honestly, they just don't. Even though Verdi is going to stack Masha super fast, the fact that they're both fire units really creates a lot of weaknesses in your comps and RTA, and the fact that neither of them has a leader skill really handcuffs you in guild content. So even though they synergize, even though Verdehile's passive synergizes well with Masha, the two monsters just don't synergize well together. If you have some crazy LD5s, which I don't, Wedjet, Ragdoll, those monsters would work phenomenally with Masha. Assuming you don't have those, the next best pairing in the game, Barbara. And that's why when you see me use the two Beast Riders together a lot, it's really, Barbara is crazy good, but Barbara also synergizes really well with Masha, so Barbara makes Masha better. Now, to that end, among the Beast Riders, the Fire and the Light, so Masha, I can't remember the Light one's name, but the Fire and the Light ones are probably the 2 weakest in the class. Now, they're all really good monsters. Masha is a great monster by herself. She's just not as good as the Wind, the Water, and the Dark. But she's still a really great monster. If you've got Masha, you're going to have fun with her. She's great in Siege content. She's great in Guild content. She can 2-man a lot of Siege comps if you set her up correctly. Just mostly in terms of RTA, she's going to be a step down from the others. I probably wouldn't use Masha much in RTA unless you're going double Beast Rider. Or unless, again, you have Ragdoll or Wedjet or another monster that synergizes really well with her. Now, like all Beast Riders, Masha does have the same dismount passive, so when Masha dies the first time, She'll dismount the beast, which means that all positive and negative effects will be cleansed from her, and she'll basically, she doesn't resurrect, she never actually dies, so you can't prevent the death with a passive like Rocky, but instead she just kind of changes. She becomes her human form only, the beast goes away. She'll have half as much HP, and she'll be 15% slower, plus her passive is gone. So if you had stacked up all that boosted speed, that goes away, and she's back to her normal speed, but 15% slower with half as much HP, but she does double the damage, 100% boost to damage. Now, Masha skill 1, same as the other Beast Riders, it's got a 30% chance to decrease the enemy's attack speed, which goes up to 50 once she's skilled up. And it has a qualifier where the faster your attack speed compared to your enemy, the more damage it does. I've never tested it, but from watching, Sean B did some testing, and it looked like it wasn't a significant increase to the damage. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how you rune Masha. Now, for starters, I strongly recommend putting the Beast Riders on Violent Will. In guild content, it's less important because we can kind of pick and choose where we're going to bring our monsters in. If we know we're going to get outsped, then we know we need will, things like that. But even so, if you use a monster a lot, like I use Masha in Arena a lot because I use the Beast Riders together, then you want to have them in will. If you cannot put her in will, there really is no like superior second choice for her. Revenge is probably the best. Revenge and Nemesis would probably be the tied for second best. The Violent matters a lot for Masha because of her crazy turn cycling, but equally important it matters because of how you're going to speed tune her. And when I say it matters, it's more that you don't want to put Masha on Swift because you actually don't want Masha to be fast. It's fine to make, I shouldn't say you don't want Masha to be fast. I personally feel like the better build for Masha is for her to act later in the team. If you make her the fastest monster on the field and the whole enemy team has will, then she can't do as much for you, and because she is an attack type monster, there's a good shot she could be forced to dismount before she gets her next turn back around. Whereas if you build her a little bit beefier, and she's built slower, so she's intended to be able to take a couple of hits and act second for me. Now, my RTA build of her is even beefier. So for RTA, what you want is for her to have more attack, more crit rate if you can, crit rate, crit damage. Like, you want her to do as much damage as possible, more accuracy. So basically, like, more of everything. You want her to be built like this, but with more of everything. Anyway, in guild content, I think this is probably sufficient. Now, she's at 239 speed. So here's the thing with Masha. Because of the attack bar boosting that she gets, remember, her attack bar gets boosted more than anyone else, she's still going to cut almost all of the monsters I try and speed tune her with. So for example, my Barbara's 255, Masha's 239, but when Bastet goes with her attack bar boost, Masha cuts. And I'd have to bring Masha down all the way to like 205, 210, just too slow for what I do with her in other content without attack bar boosters to truly speed tune. So I have her at 239 because this will allow her to act behind most of my strippers and most of my attack buffers when I two-man in Siege. But she's still fast enough that she's going to take first turn in those Siege content, because a lot of times if I'm two-manning, I'm not using a speed lead. So the speed tuning is harder with Masha than with other monsters because she's going to wind up acting second if you're using an attack bar booster, unless you make her super slow. But you want her to be fast enough that she can outspeed a lot of enemy monsters too. So it's really just about finding the balance that works for you. The other thing to remember is with her crazy base speed, if you're using a speed lead, it's going to boost her up that much further. So put a lot of thought into how you're speed tuning your Masha to make sure that she's going to act behind your strippers even if you use a speed lead. And then decide whether or not it's worth it to you to make her super slow. If you're only going to use her with attack bar boosters, you can make her super slow. Otherwise, you know, just speed tune her so that she acts in the turn order that you want the rest of the time. Okay, with that said, let's go take Masha into Arena and Guild War and show you some comps that she works well with. Okay, so for this first fight, this is one of my more common Arena comps. Ganny is not common in Arena for Guardian level players, but this comp works really well for me because of the double Beast Riders. And so basically the way it's going to work is the two Beast Riders are, again, speed tuned to go together. Now, of course, because of the Bastet, Masha will cut. But in Arena, you can usually find an enemy team. There's almost always going to be at least one enemy that doesn't have will runes, as is the case right here. So our Masha is going to go first. She's going to absorb that Triana's attack bar right there. Now, our Barber is going to go second, and she's going to absorb the Praha attack bar right there. And now our Ganny is going to go and reset the Triana, and go ahead and strip everybody's attack bars. And now we can go ahead and just move forward and kill that Lydia. And as I use my Barber skill 3, I get 2 attack bar boosts, which means I've now used 3 attack bar boosts, actually 4. So my Masha's passive is up to 4 because Bastet has boosted her, she's boosted herself, and Barber boosted her twice, so I'm already almost up to full speed. We're going to go ahead and ventilate our Masha so that we can finish getting up to our full stacks. And you saw the wild passive is at 5 now, and look at how much attack bar my Masha already has again. She absorbed 25% from the Triana, which turned into 37, and she's fully stacked, so she's already back ahead of my Bastet. She's going to steal another turn. And so that's the basic idea. We got our Masha stacked as quickly as we could, and then we're just going to use her to go run over the other team. Okay, let's take a look at a Masha comp using Verdehile, since obviously most people don't have 2 Beast Riders. This would be another way to stack your Masha faster, but honestly, I think you're better off letting Masha stack herself and working with a single attack bar booster than Verdehile. I'm just going to demonstrate how you would set this comp up, but again, it's not a comp that I would normally use. So we had the Josephine in there to protect against the Clara, and we're going to go ahead and try and provoke the Rika. Obviously, Savannah is just really strong, but we did manage to provoke the Rika, and we'll be able to now hopefully force the Savannah to dismount, which was the goal. Of course, Verdi got stunned, so we haven't stacked our Masha yet at all. Ooh, that was a strong hitting Savannah. Can we stun the Clara? We cannot, but we can kill the Clara because we still managed to turn cycle. The double counter actually messed me up right there. That double counter was not good. But look at how fast our Masha is back again, because remember, if Verd is boosting everyone else by 40%, he's boosting Masha by 60%. So we're going to go ahead and just get crazy boosting on our Masha again. Masha can now self-boost. And the dismount right there we procced, and that was the fight. But you can see how that fight didn't actually work quite as smoothly. And it's because when you're bringing in the Verd, he's taking up yet another spot. So now I've got 2 fire monsters against Samanth, which is really common, and it just doesn't synergize quite as well. So let's look at another fight, but this time just letting Masha stack herself more slowly. With that Samanth lead on the other side, the whole enemy team is going first anyway, but with the Ciara lead, maybe we can cut the Leica off, which would be the goal. Especially because that Savannah is going to get that AoE defense break on us. Okay, so my Bastet is on a resistance build specifically for that reason. That worked out perfectly. So now that the Bastet boost has come up, Masha is obviously taking first turn. This is going to allow us to subtract some of that Leica's attack bar. And then hopefully we might be able to just kill the Leica outright right here, which we did. Now we'll go ahead and kill the Triton. Now the reason I didn't kill the Savannah with my Odin is because remember, the dismount with these Beast Riders is not a resurrect. So Odin would have dumped all his stacks on Savannah and been left with zero stacks, and he would have been exposed. Obviously we're not going to kill the Samanth because of the Rageful Return, so we had to kill the Triton right there. Okay, so for this team, I'm trying to set up something a little bit more free-to-play friendly. So we're going to use the Akia to do an AoE reset. Now, the only thing I don't like about this team is the fact that Mo Long can come after either Akia or Masha. I'd rather know specifically where it was going. But with that said, my Akia's got 21k HP, my Masha's got 21k HP. So, because they're both relatively low HP monsters, my Fran should be able to fully heal them back up. So basically what we're looking at here is if there's no will runes on the enemy side, we can reset everybody with the Akia. If there are will runes on the enemy side, then we're going to use Akia to strip the Harmonia. We're going to use our Masha to reduce the Harmonia's attack bar and boost herself. And then we're going to take the hit from Mo Long, and we're going to heal ourselves in between. Okay, so we took first turn as expected. Only the Mo has will runes, and that's okay. So we're going to go ahead. The main thing here is we want to reset that Tyrannus, reduce that Harmonia. Wow, triple resistance, but that's okay. So we just want to get the reset on the Tyrannus, And now we'll work on this Harmonia a little bit. Here comes the Molong Reckless. He went after the Akia, 18,000 damage. And then we survived as we were hoping. We'll go ahead. We got the sleep right there, which is perfect. We didn't get the slow, but that's okay. Can we get another sleep? Yes, we did. Oh, she procced, but that's okay. Let us go ahead and just reduce the Mo a little bit. We get our immunity back up, so that is good. Can we sleep the Tyrannus again? Because we're going to let the Masha finish off the Harmonia. Ooh, didn't quite finish off the Harmonia. I guess we should have tried to hit the Harmonia after all. But that's okay. We can heal our Masha right back up. We can get another skill reset going on. This time we got the Molong as well. Now, obviously, with Akia, it's only a 2-turn increase. It's not a full reset. And, unfortunately, we're getting resisted a fair amount here. Let us go ahead and do that. Can we get a sleep this time? We cannot. It resisted. We did get the slow on Harmonia, so that helps. Chill. Whoa, chill, bro. All right. Gotta die. It died. And, oh, come on. Do I heal myself or the Akia? I've got to heal myself because Tyrannus is about to hit me really hard. Oh, the sleep. Ah, okay. Can we kill that Harmonia? Yes, with the proc, we killed the Harmonia. That's why we put our Masha on Violent. So we slowed. Get another skill reset here. So this is going to be huge. And this should finish the Tyrannus. And now we can actually strip with the defense break. That was beautiful. And just about finish that Molong. So unfortunately, this was the only Guild War battle I had. This wasn't like the greatest demonstration of Masha, I think. There were a lot of resistances. I probably should have hit the Harmonia with Akia earlier on. I would have rather included a better example of Masha through Guild War, but hopefully you guys get the basic idea of how you would use her. You use her to absorb the enemy attack bar, boost herself so that she can lap the enemy. And then just look back at the arena examples. You're going to use those same kinds of comps. Okay guys, so that's it for today's video. Again, my recommendation is Violent Will. If you can't do Violent Will, then Rage or Fatal are both good options as well. I personally would not do Swift because I don't want Masha to be the fastest monster on my team, but if you're building a comp specifically to make her the fastest, then that does make sense. Or maybe you're building a crazy all 300 speed comp and probably just for RTA. There's reasons to make her super fast, so I'm not saying never do it. But my personal preference is to speed tune her behind a stripper so that you can take full advantage of her ability to nuke an enemy out and at the same time begin to stack herself and start to turn cycle. Remember, if you're relying on that skill 2 to give herself a boost on her passive and the whole enemy team has will, then you're not only just missing a chance to nuke, but you're also missing a chance to start stacking your own attack bar. Build her a little bit tanky, don't ignore the HP because of the dismount. And then you don't have to try and force her to work with Verdehile, but do put her with an attack bar booster if you can, and if you've got a crazy LD5 that has a passive attack bar boosting, props to you, congratulations, and yeah, they're going to work great with Masha. So that's it for today's video, guys. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video, I hope you found it helpful, and we'll see you next time. Hey guys, if you're still with me to this point, then that means that you probably liked the video, found it entertaining, or even better, both. So please smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment down below because those things help the channel grow, and more importantly, they show me that the video is useful, and that's the whole reason I do this in the first place.